Hello. We have now opened the vault. We will discuss some of the goodies in it today. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Cory.
And this is a continuation of our previous episode on Speak Now Taylor's version. It is not a short album, it's 22 songs, and 6 of them are new old songs, and we decided to separate them from the main album of the songs we'd already heard before, because, well, they're brand new songs, so even though they were written not recently, they're new to us, and we're excited to discuss them, I think. I think there's some cool stuff here with 6 brand new Taylor Swift songs never before heard by many.
You say new old, and you did it perfectly right there, letting people know what it is. But my question, and I couldn't find it, and I almost asked you before we started, but were these ever recorded and laid down back in the day? Like, are there masters of these?
It's very possible. I would think there are at least demos of these.
And then on top of that, without getting too far ahead, were the guest artists that we see throughout this, were they slated or even considered
Back in the day?
early? Yeah.
I am going to say no. I'm guessing not.
Okay.
And my reason for that is based on the vault tracks on the previous 2 albums. She's, in those cases, chosen people who have come to prominence in the years since those albums.
Okay.
Now, these bands were around, the ones we hear from, they were around in 2010, but I don't think that, I'm thinking Big Machine wouldn't have gone for it back then, her collabing with these artists that we hear from here.
I was just wondering, as far as from a writing sense, I wonder if she had these artists in mind back then, or if these tracks were without anyone. And then she says, this would fit well with so-and-so as we go through.
No, I think all of these songs I'm thinking were written as solo songs, but a couple of them were repurposed as duets, which I think is an interesting choice, actually, because on the previous albums that have had vault songs, most of the featured artists, they're really just backing singers, except for one song she ended up repurposing into a duet off of Red, which was nothing new. And, people loved it, and I agree. It's a great song, and it worked really well as a duet with Phoebe Bridgers, and they even did that at my Eras Tour stop, so that was pretty cool to hear. But the question is, do these work quite as well as that? Well, we'll find out.
That we will.
We'll find out. So, yeah, I guess you could call this a bit of a mini EP, even though it's all available to be streamed readily. And with that being said, I'm ready to dive into these From the Vault songs.
Get at it.
So our first From the Vault song is one of the collaborations. It is Electric Touch, and this was produced by Aaron Dessner. We've discussed him before on our Folklore episode because he did most of that album. So it's very cool, I think, that she's, with these new old songs, she's recruited her main guys, Dessner and Jack Antonoff, to produce them on all of these albums, because they're new songs, they're not being re-recorded. So I think that's really cool of her to keep them in the loop and work with her on this. I like that loyalty, and they're great producers for her. So
yeah.
But this is a duet collaboration with the band Fall Out Boy, is how it's credited. And she said that they were an inspiration for her lyrics at this time. I can see that on a couple of the songs here, as we mentioned before. A couple of the songs did veer into pop punk territory, especially Better Than Revenge, but that's not really what this is. This doesn't sound really emo or pop punk to me at all.
No.
Which I'm happy about, because that's not my go-to genre. I actually think that it follows the previous song, Superman, really well somehow. Like, musically, it, to me, does. But I don't think it's emo. This is the concept of it. It's like an instant connection kind of song, like Gotta Have Your Electric Touch. And it could go either way, but like, they want it to work. They want this connection to be real. is and I'm not thinking this song was written as a duet, but I think it works as a duet, which to me is a sign of a versatile song. And yeah, I think it's a fun one. I can see why they didn't put it on the album back in the day. Um, but I do think that I think it's a good song.
It's a neat song for me. I'll tell you what, I couldn't picture it just her singing it all the way through because I think it's integral that that middle verse be from the point of view of the guy who's pulling up in this first date scenario where both of them we end up finding out, they're not sure about it. This will make or break their hearts in so many words. But I couldn't see it without a male voice in the middle. That being said, I have to say I wish the male voice in the middle on this what hit a little bit harder. The overdubbed Fallout Boy, I'm doing them a disservice, but the whoever's singing,
Patrick Stump is the singer's name.
It doesn't hit right for me. And musically, I enjoy this one. I'll tell you what, though, that little trill she does throughout and then he mimics it, I don't like it. I just don't like the way it fits in that key. That's me nitpicking musically. It is a neat song, though. By the third verse, I feel like, not even from a production standpoint, but more so just from the song finding its legs. In the third verse, even with him singing on this track, it sort of finds itself, but it still falls a little short in my mind. I can see why this didn't make the album as well. This is definitely a cutting room floor thing, but I wonder, I'd love to ask her, did you think it was going to be a male voice in the middle there? Because I think it's needed, but I think it needed to be a stronger one.
I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, I think of people I want this artist to collaborate with, Fallout Boy is not the first band I'm thinking of. I mean, I think it really was a choice on her part because the band influenced her a lot. I'm thinking, especially during this time, and I think that's cool that she did that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is a change from the previous ones where we got male country singers on the songs instead. So I think it's cool that we're stepping out of that, but I mean, he's not the best singer to begin with. Like, it's this emo pop punk thing. I guess he's fine for what he does, but it's not the best. I mean, he's not the best vocalist.
Yeah, and I'm not crapping on his vocals. I'm just saying, like, and you said the country singer. Who was the baritone guy that duetted with her on
Chris Stapleton?
Was it Chris? Oh no. Maybe I'm getting mixed up. Regardless, that more of a baritone voice or more of a heavy hitting voice from me works out well. Because I don't know.
Are you thinking of Bonnie Vare, Exile?
Maybe
from Folklore.
I think I am. Yes.
I agree. This is the two songs aren't even really comparable, but
no. But I mean, if he would have sang this middle verse, it would have hit a little bit harder in my in my opinion.
That's not even hit that guy's voice all the time, though. Doesn't not always that low. It can be a bit whinier.
That I definitely dig that she's paying homage or really still, even though these are unreleased tracks, remembering when she wrote them and incorporating Fallout Boy. Kudos to that. I mean, that's super artistry right there. You're doing a throwback Easter egg with them on it, and I dig that. I dig that a lot.
Yeah, but we're gonna go into a more throwback traditional Taylor Swift sound, I would say, with the next track, When Emma Falls in Love. Taylor, this actually was one of the surprise songs for the album's release date concert in Kansas City, and she said this song was inspired by a friend of hers, and most people are thinking that Emma is the actress Emma Stone, which I think is cool because I like Emma Stone. I think she's been good in everything I've seen her in. So, beautiful lady too.
Yeah.
From what I saw, when the track list was revealed and we saw these vault song titles, this title was definitely the most intriguing. A lot of people were like, it's like, what vault track are you most excited for? A lot of people said When Emma Falls in Love just because of the title. It's like, what could this be? And musically, I would say it's a pretty traditional Taylor Swift country pop ballad. It kind of reminds me specifically of Comin' with the Rain from the Fearless album, musically. And but I like that. I like this song. I think it's a very nice song. I think she's kind of admiring her friend and saying, like, this is a special girl, and I wish I was her, which I think is really cool. And there's this reference to the man she meets at the end, and a lot of people, based on the timeline, are thinking it's Emma Stone's ex-boyfriend. They might have been engaged at one point, but no longer. Andrew Garfield, which also pretty cool, I think, because I like him too. I think he's a good actor.
That's the boy with the man's eyes, Garfield.
He was Spider-Man.
I dig it. I dig it.
Come on.
The boy with the Spider-Man eyes.
Yeah, the second Spider-Man. You should have known that.
Oh, I knew who he was. But the reference in the song is she met a boy with the eyes of a man.
Oh.
And I was like, that's Garfield. But hey, man, they were young back then too, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's 40 now, so. Hey, I look at me crapping out on the song lyrics. I am tired. Oh boy.
No, you're good. You're good. There's a lot to take in on this song. It's one of my, I won't say it's one of my favorites, but it's definitely a good look into her playful symbolism inside her very descriptive lyrics that aren't, like we always say, you know, just like right there in your face. If Cleopatra was born in a small town, I love that. I love that line right there. And it really moves in a musical sense too, because it starts off in this like innocent piano riff, and by the end we get this fully realized narrative and composition, which I like as well. This one it hit on a personal note too, because a friend of ours, it reminds me of a friend of ours who happens to be named Emma, and we just found out that she's engaged. So I hit her up and I was like, here's your perfect song. This is your wedding song. I don't care what you're saying, but the lyrics reminded me of her. She is a unique soul.
She's a Cleopatra, all right.
She is in a small in the Baltimore town, but she definitely reminded me of this song and the character inside of it. So I like it even more.
Yeah. she could hold her own with Emma Stone too, so
she most definitely could. She would be New York in LA.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Hey, I just hope it's not Emma Watson. Hermione's not that interesting. Sorry, folks, but
sorry, Hermione. You didn't make the cut on this one.
Maybe it's just because I hate J.K. Rowling, but that's a different discussion.
Different day.
Yeah, we're not talking about them. And I mentioned earlier I was crapping out on the song lyrics up to this song. It might have been just because the next song has not been able to get out of my head because it's so damn catchy. I Can See You. So this was, I have to say, this was not one that, when people say, what vault song are you most excited for? Nobody was saying this song because the title wasn't really that. It didn't jump out and it wasn't a collaboration. So it's like, okay, but oh boy, we got a shocker here. This is 2010 Taylor Swift in seduction mode.
Heard.
That's what this is. This is a sexy, funky song right here, and it's our first of the vault tracks produced by Jack Antonoff, and I can definitely hear his work with Bleachers coming through here, and it helps a lot. And I mean, yeah, this song, it is very catchy, but I think everyone was pretty taken aback. I wouldn't be surprised if back then they said this can't be there because it's just too sexy for Taylor Swift. Circa 2010.
Heard.
She could sing better than Revenge, but not this is what I'm thinking. But I'm glad that, as I think this song is fantastic, but I'm glad that it was left on the cutting room floor because I think it sounds so much better now than it would have then. Because 2010 Taylor had, I don't even think she'd met Jack Antonoff yet, and um he was the perfect fit for this song, and he got to go into that funky mode, which we certainly haven't always heard in their work together. And yeah, just a real. This is a banger. It's
Yeah.
a banger.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I'm totally with you, and I'm so glad you said it. It's one of the reasons why I asked you if there was masters on these, because his fingerprint is all over this, and I love it musically. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that you would have got this beautiful guitar sound. It reminds me of like the guitar in Roxanne a little bit, but like you get this indie feel from this from this
That new
slight,
wave-ish kind of.
yeah, that slightly echoed guitar just sings, and it gives musical reference to her looking down the hallway, and this wild seductive story that we get to travel through with her on this one. I really love it, and I love the way she like talks, sings throughout this. I know I say that with her a bunch, but especially on this album, but I love it. It gives this song that much more power. This one, it's a sexy song. It is definitely doesn't hit me like a young Taylor song from what I know, and I'm 100%. There's no way it would have sounded like this back then. Like I
No.
don't know who would have been on it, and I don't know how it would have came across, but I can guarantee you it wouldn't have sounded as cool as it does today.
Yeah, and everybody is on board with this song. It's been the most streamed of the vault tracks easily.
It's
And
dirty, man. It could be a
yeah.
single. Straight
Well,
up.
it is a single actually.
Oh no
It's
shit.
it seems that way because yeah, funny story, album release day at that show. In the middle of it, Taylor Swift premiered a music video for this song, and but it's not a sexy video, but it's actually a heist themed video.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
but it's pretty cool, and she has some old friends in it, I guess you could say. So we have a young lady named Presley Cash who was in the video for Mean back in the day, as long as another young lady named Joey King, who's now a Hollywood star. I saw her in Bullet Train. She was the annoying British one in that movie, but she's in this music video, and then none other than the subject of Back to December himself, Jacob Black, Taylor Lautner, is in the music video, and he did all his own stunts too. Because he's doing some kicks and flips and all that.
She blows me away, man. To be so conscious of yourself and your career and your music and the time frame that this was, to incorporate people that were with you back then into something now that you're doing about back then is that is clear, like major league. It blows my mind.
I mean, her whole look in the video, like she has her hair done from how it looked back then. We got the wavy curls back in the video. We've got gold dress and her stealing the album from the vault too.
She does on this one, and I didn't say it before, and I just saw it in my notes, but she does sound a little bit like the older Taylor, and I dig that. For me, she lets that maturity of her voice come out on this one.
Yeah, definitely. Man. And it works beautifully, and I think Taylor's got another hit on her hands with this one.
I'd love to see this flow through the radio, man.
It might be a bit difficult. There's two other Swift songs on the radio right now, but this one, I think it's going to float through as well because people are loving it, and rightfully so. And the video's a lot of fun too. Definitely one of the best Swift videos I can think of.
That's awesome.
So, yes, most definitely. But this song, our next song is another collaboration. So not somebody we saw visibly back in that era, but a longtime friend of Taylor's. This is a song with Hayley Williams of Paramore called Castles Crumbling. This was another highly anticipated one because it was a collaboration with Hayley Williams. And Paramore is still a very popular band. They're selling mad concert tickets, and they'll actually be opening for Taylor next year on the European leg of the Eras tour. Even though they're headliners in their own right, they're going to be doing that.
Good for them.
Yeah, but yeah, Taylor's mentioned that Hayley's been a longtime friend of hers. They're peers and they've come up together. I mean, Paramore actually originates from Nashville, weirdly enough, even though it's an emo band. I learned that very recently that they're a Nashville emo band.
I would have definitely lost money on that one.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, this is another one I'm thinking written as a solo track, but repurposed as a duet. And what's really interesting about the song is everybody's saying like this song foreshadows the 2016 downfall with Kanye and Kim and her being called a snake and the castles crumbling. Well, I don't think she I don't think she predicted that, but what's something I think that can be fun with, it's happened with a couple of these vault tracks so far in this journey through the re-records. We hear a lyric in there that was used later on. And the castle's crumbling, the opening line of a song on the Reputation album, Call It What You Want, is My Castle Crumbled Overnight. So I think it's really neat to hear that, like, hey, well, she had this whole song from several years before that album called Castles Crumbling. That's very interesting to see that, hey, that's where she's had this idea, probably been waiting to use it, and she did it. And but as cool as that is, I have to say this is my least favorite of the vault tracks. I don't think it's that musically dynamic, and again, I'm just not an emo person, and this is definitely in that style. It's not quite for me, and I think Hayley Williams I think she has a good voice. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. It just doesn't do a lot for me. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like Evanescence a bit in a weird way, but like without the rapping and the power chords, just like the slow. So it's just yeah, this one not my favorite. I can see why it was left on the cutting room floor back in the day.
Yeah. So I kid you not. I have a very tough time, and I have since the first time I heard this, figuring out where Hayley Williams is coming in, other than these little melodies and little pieces. For me, this one falls flat in the sense of achieving a duet track. And I don't know if that was ever really even the case, but if you're going to put her name on it, I don't know. It falls very flat as a duet for me. I like the symbolism inside of this. Now that I'm getting a taste of older Taylor to younger Taylor lyrics, I can see where she's at. This is definitely a building track for her, and I'm so happy to find out that thought process didn't end and that came across, because this is one of her longer, lengthier stories. Even though this song isn't really that long, this is one of those lengthier narratives from her, but there's a lot of cool wordplay inside of it and a lot of cool symbolism. And I even love the feeling behind the thought of this. I mean, this is an insecurity song. This is, you don't want to know me. No one wants to know me anymore. And I don't even know if inside of her career, she was starting to get that wide area of criticism where there was haters all over the place and she was
there
faltering
definitely
on that.
were.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, this is an 18 to 20-year-old artist that is feeling that and has having these insecure thoughts. And I can see where she is, and I like that about this song, but not my favorite song. It is musically, it just sort of sits there. And it's another one where if it wasn't for the cool lyrics inside of it, it would be a super throwaway track. But I'll just give this one not my favorite. Not a throwaway track, but not my favorite.
Yeah, that's really all you can say about it.
Yeah.
But we're gonna move on to a different thing now. Fortunately, I'm happy to. Frankly, we've got Foolish One, which is the last of the Aaron Dessner productions that we have here.
Inspired by the life of the savvy and ambitious Colombian businesswoman Griselda Blanco comes a new Netflix original limited series. Griselda tells the story of a devoted mother who, with her lethal blend of charm and relentless savagery, creates one of the most powerful cartels in history. Witness Sofia Vergara's captivating transformation into the godmother of the underworld. Griselda, streaming January 25th, only on Netflix.
TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
This one is an interesting one. This is a very introspective and self-deprecating song, actually. Like, she's saying, calling herself the foolish one. Like, stop checking your mailbox for confessions of love. Like, I love that it's so old school, her thought process here. Like, she's thinking of this from a different era almost. I feel like in a part, she's putting herself in, like, the pre-cell phone, pre-computer, email texting era, because it's that old romantic in her that is able to write something like a love story. It's always been there, and I love that about this song. I actually, this is not my favorite vault track, but hot tea take, I wish this was on the album back in the day. And the reason that I say that is because I think the album could have just used a bit more of an introspective tune, not just all these. I mean, there are introspective tunes on Speak Now. I mean, specifically Never Grow Up. But when it comes to her love life, I don't think we hear a lot of introspection on the initial album, and I think it would have shown the listeners a new dimension of her if this song was included on there. And maybe a bit of a counterbalance from all the pot shots at the celebrities and all. I think that, not that I don't enjoy those, but I think that an antidote would have been helpful.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it has just enough playfulness inside of it musically that it could fit up there on the album and not take away. It would be in the introspective. I totally agree with you there. I think it's one that could shine up there. In fact, this, knowing that she wrote it back then, has that hit of young Taylor. Like it feels like a younger song, and I enjoy it. This one has like some Alanis Morissette vibes for me, and I dig it too. You know, it's a really wild, like you said, introspective take, but it's almost hidden behind a playful music and a composition. I dig that about this song. I like her voice in this one too.
Yeah.
It is a fun one. It's a fun one. Not my favorite out of these guys, but it's a fun one.
I completely agree. And we hear young Taylor in the voice more on this one than any of these songs, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, Foolish One, a winner in our book. I'm glad to see we agree on that. And now we have our last vault track, and now the official album closer, I guess. Timeless. It's hard to imagine for me just a closer that's not long lived, because that's such a finale song. But we've got a new one now, and this is not that. So I would call this a contemplative love song. Like, she's really thinking to herself, like, you know, if I'd met you in 1945 or 1958, we would have ended up together. Like, we could have been timeless. it looks like this song was inspired specifically by her grandparents because the lyric video posted features photos of them. And I think that's really cool too, because again, that foreshadows some stuff. Because on Folklore, as we talked about, we had a song about her grandfather Epiphany, and on the follow-up Evermore, which we haven't discussed here, there's a song called Marjorie, which is about her late grandmother and is a beautiful song. Actually, one of my show highlights for me was a bunch of people just turning on their phone lights and holding them up during Marjorie. I was ready to record the song, but it was really nice just to live in that moment. It was a very cool moment. But lyrically, though, this is young Taylor. This is that wide-eyed romantic optimism. This is not the more cynical feels of Folklore and Evermore. But I like that we've got this historic familial idea already creeping in, and I just think it's a really pretty song, though. This is a romantic song, and I just love that it's a beautiful thought. Like, we could have been timeless. And it can make you feel sad, but it could also make you feel happy. I think it's a bittersweet song, and this is another one. I'm glad that we got it now, because I think that having heard these more recent songs about her family and whatnot, I think that it just hits a bit harder now. And yeah, really, this is a winner for me, and I do think it works as a closing track as well. So this is definitely my second favorite of the vault tracks for sure.
Yeah, this one, there's a lot to love here. Of course, I love her vocals here. That we really get another cinematic feeling type piece. As far as the composition goes, I like to call this song the anti-Story of Us, because you could feel the love. I even said on our podcast, like, she loved him during Story of Us, and this one is the opposite, but you can still feel the love, this beautiful contemplative, like you said, but this beautiful fantasy love that is not broken, or maybe not even built all the way yet, but there's this beautiful thought. When you're in love and you find something that reminds you, and you start to go. I love the way that this goes as far as its storytelling. If I had to nitpick, I would say the verse about like the arranged marriage and like going all the way back to that time period, I don't know if it needed to be there. But again, we're looking at a younger Taylor who told a wider story, and was sometimes longer winded than we see later on in her career. But another beautiful and almost, I'll use the word genius thing on this one that I loved is the way that we're talking about this timelessness. We're showing how the love could have been throughout the eras, no pun intended, and seeing the timelessness of that. But in this beautiful loop, we also end up back at the first verse, the opening stanza of this song, which creates this timeless loop inside of the song, and I love that as well. A really well thought out piece. And I agree with you. I like that we got it now rather than on this album. I think it could have fit on this album, but I think it wouldn't have shined on the album as far as impact.
Yeah.
If that makes sense there. It wouldn't have fit quite exactly how it does now. I don't know if it's a closer. I don't know if I really even registered it as a closer. I seem to, each time I was listening to these, I seem to listen to them just as almost like single track demos. But it's cool to think that is the closer for this one, because ultimately this is a timeless record.
Yes.
So you get that cool, intertwining there of who knows if she even meant to. The way she runs her stuff, and I slowly learn from us doing this, and you tell me stuff, I'd have to bet on she does know that she did it like that, So kudos to you, girl. You keep blowing me away.
Yes. And Yeah, those are our 6 new vault tracks from Speak Now. They're, I think, more worthy additions, in my opinion, to her song catalog.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to hear that the vault tracks just haven't been in the project so far. I think most of them have something really going for them, and this adds to that. These are not throwaway songs. There's some good stuff here, but sometimes some stuff just needs a later chance to shine, and this is it. And I'm glad to see it.
So you said on day of release she vaulted this at the live show. She vaulted I Can See You at the live show.
The video was premiered there. Yes,
Song
was out.
The song. So do they consider? Doesn't she do a vault song every night, or like?
No, there are 2 surprise songs every night, and those can be anything. They could be a vault song that she's recorded, but most of them aren't, because that's not most of them. So far, live performance, we've only so far gotten When Emma Falls in Love, but I'm thinking, since this is a new release, I'm thinking we'll be hearing all of these songs at some point during the tour, especially as it continues in the next year. I'm sure, they might put Castles Crumbling on the set list if Paramore's opening. I wouldn't go crazy for it, but I wouldn't be surprised, because they did it for Phoebe Bridgers and her shows. We got nothing new, but
yeah, I think that's almost a guarantee at that point.
Yeah, it's not as good of a song as Nothing New, but I think they'll get it.
I just hope she doesn't stop playing I Can See You live and just get it in. Yeah,
we didn't get it. We haven't gotten that song as a live vocal yet, though. No.
Oh, just the video.
The video was shown.
Start playing it, girl. That's a live song. That's a live song.
It is. Yeah, I'll be jealous of anybody who gets to hear it. That's for sure.
Heard that.
But you know what? She has 45 damn songs on the set list. Yeah. But if you have to remove something, I wouldn't blame you. This needs to be there. I Can See You. It's a banger.
I love thinking how, I just can't get over this Grateful Dead wild, like, jam band, tour band, like, people at back in the day before the internet, and you used to see cats scratching down the songs Fish was playing. They would call them scribes. Same at the Dead shows. And just to think that, there's cats out there jotting down the Taylor set list, like, what'd you get? I love that, man. I love it. I think she is not only struck gold, she has made herself timeless at this point.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
Yes. Because we're talking about her now. Well, we will be for a long time. I think this is probably our last Taylor Swift episode for a while, I'm thinking, until the next new release comes out. But we'll be doing that, of course, because why wouldn't we?
They need to get her down in the Sphere in Vegas. I pay buku bucks to see that.
Okay.
Get her down there. Put her in the Sphere.
I'm very curious to see who's going to be in the Sphere beyond U2. But
Fish will be there. Guaranteed Fish will be there. We're going off on a tangent, but guaranteed Fish will be there for at least, I'd like to see New Year's there. Come on, boys. But
I'd rather see U2.
You're out of your mind.
Okay.
Different show.
Okay. Whatever. I'm not even a diehard U2 fan, but
I know.
Whatever.
That's why, like, Inside the Sphere, get out of here.
But Mysterious Ways, come on.
I mean, cool. I'm not mad. This is another podcast though.
Okay. We'll get there.
Take it back to our girl Taylor.
Yes, we will. Yes, but yeah, but if you did enjoy this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening to us. Leave us a nice rating and review. We hope you really enjoyed this two-part deep dive with the full length and the mini episode. And also, of course, follow us on social media at Turntables and Tea Podcast on Facebook and Instagram at Turntables Tea on Twitter. I will have the links for that in the bio as well, so you could just click on them. So that'll work just fine for everybody. But now the time has come to kind of reveal how we were inspired by this and how it's going to influence our next picks. And because this album is entirely self-written, we decided we wanted to look at some other singer-songwriters who just wrote all their songs by themselves. Because a lot of great artists have done this. There's so much great singer-songwriter material out there. It could be its own separate podcast. We're gonna go. We could go much further, but we're gonna do what we can, folks. But I have a pick for it, and it's something continuing in the vein of this summer where people just really like hearing new old songs. Because one of the most popular songs in the country right now is by Luke Combs, and it's called Fast Car. But he didn't write it. Wasn't his song first. Oh, no, no, no. It was originally by a lady named Tracy Chapman, and I think that this song's current popularity makes this a very cool time to dive into the self-titled debut of Tracy Chapman, 1988, which contains the iconic Fast Car that is all the talk of 2023.
Woo! I had no idea. So this is news to me too. I grew up on this album. You didn't know that about me.
I did not.
This was one of the staple albums in my house growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do this. I can't wait. That's gonna be man.
It is the perfect time to do it with one of our songs of the summer. It's a hit once again, and
all right.
We'll be discussing Luke into it too, but I think this is the perfect time to look back at this because
great pick. Oh my gosh, I'm excited for that. I haven't listened to that album in a minute. I'm excited.
Yeah, because now Tracy Chapman is the first Black woman who has written a song by herself to have topped the country charts because of Luke Combs' cover of Fast Car.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah. Making milestones, even though it's been years since she's put out an album. Good for you, Tracy. Good for you. And we can't wait to do it. And I'm thinking everybody else will be into it too. I think this will be a real cool album to do. It was not an easy decision for me. There was a lot to choose from, but I think this is timeless, I guess you could say. Another timeless album.
There you go.
As we've seen. So
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Until then, don't drive your cars too fast because you gotta listen to our next episode.
Peace!